Tunisia. Live. Be informed, be involved.
I'm Tunisian and I'm proud of my life in the US. And if I can help bridge the divide, basically, right? Because I mean, Tunisians need to get to know America, the history of America. There is so much to learn about this great country. I mean, it's to me, I call the US the ultimate human experiment, right? You basically bring people of all colors and shapes and ethnicities and religions, right? And somehow all of these people blend together to create an unbelievable society, right? Where, I mean, people mostly live in peace and harmony. And what some people refer to as Washington precedent in the US, right? After its independence, Washington was a greater than God figure in the US, larger than God type of figure. He basically served one term, and then he was about to quit and retire to his farm. And basically people begged him to stay on, and he stayed on another term, and then he said that's it, because he hated all the political squabbling and stuff like that, and then he retired to his farm. From that moment on, it became the Washington rule. Unwritten rule, basically. Nobody else dared to stay as a president of the United States more than 2 terms, 8 years, right? And so to me, observing the Arab world, right, and I've been a frequent visitor, obviously, to Tunisia throughout my time in the US, I felt Bourguiba has had a chance to retire. He didn't do it. Jamal Abdel Nasser in '67, he wanted to retire, but his people wouldn't let him, right? So we have been missing this good precedent that would have established the rule of law and democracy, right? Because, for instance, we all know, had Bourguiba decided to retire, nobody after Bourguiba would have dared to stick on as president for life, right? So I've been kind of chasing what I call the Washington precedent for many years. So I think the revolution, to me, and I think to many people, has provided that first good precedent, right? That will really establish democracy. There is a risk that all of this optimism and happiness will basically be replaced with despair, right, and potentially chaos. So I think all of us, right, everybody needs to contribute to make sure that we make this transition and get going, basically, economically, most importantly, in my view. People are saying, how can we help? And initially we were thinking probably provide some money to some poor areas in Tunisia, like Sidi Bouzid, etc. But we wanted to really come up with other ways to make sure that we have a more sustainable way of helping Tunisia, right? So the idea that's still, again, at the embryonic stage, right, is to leverage the unbelievable amount of expertise and resources that the Tunisian diaspora has in North America and abroad to really create what we call a think tank, a New Tunisia Foundation, right? We worked on the 5 continents. I've dealt with Fortune 500 companies in the US, Global 1000 companies, and I know many people would be interested in Tunisia. And my specialty, I mean, given that I deal with manufacturing and distribution, one idea that we started exploring with a number of Tunisian businessmen and even businessmen overseas is to turn Tunisia into a logistics hub, right? A global, major logistics hub. As is a concept that has been around for some time, which is called delayed differentiation, which is basically saying if it takes you 10 steps to make a finished product going from raw material, then probably should go 8 steps. And then the color, the label, the final customizations, you leave to the end, the packaging, right? And some countries have been trying to position themselves as what's called a product completion center or a major logistics hub, where you have the capability to provide the finishing touches to the product, package it, and then ship it to the end market, right? And if you think of Tunisia, sometimes when people in the US ask me where Tunisia is, I say, look at the cradle of civilization, the Mediterranean area, and do a cross, you'll find Tunisia in the middle. So I think our position at the highest point in Africa, within a stone throw, literally, from Italy, from Europe, right? Very close to Africa and the Middle East, should be exploited to turn Tunisia into a major logistics hub, which will have obviously great impact on our industry infrastructure as well as our logistics distribution, right? So I think this is one idea that we are pursuing, and I think it has tremendous potential.
Available on tunisialive.net.